Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Kim from Dodges and Daisies, and thank you so much for joining me again. Today, as you guys could see, we went to the oldest mill ruins in South Carolina. The last few little road trips that we took, they're only about like a half an hour away from us, have actually been just as cool in person as I was hoping they would be. The ruins were beautiful. There was, as you guys could see, really lovely water, rocks, places to climb. I'm somebody that deals with a really bad chronic fatigue, but I had energy today and I was able to do a lot of walking. I'm also somebody who's afraid of heights, and I don't know if you could tell how high one of the towers were, but we climbed it and I did great and I was so proud of myself. So it was a really good day, and I brought my journal with me that you guys have seen before. It's from either, I really just need to ask Cynthia because I can't keep saying either Jacinth or Jacinth journals. So Cynthia, you'll be getting a message soon if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but I will leave her info in on the bottom just like everybody else's. And I brought the junk journal that she had surprised me with and sent me with today, and it was really fun. I always really enjoy having journals like out and about with me. So there were a few things that I wanted to touch on before we did a journal page together. The first is I have this journal, and you guys can see just how chunky and thick it is now. That's just for play. And I have different journals for different things. I actually tend to work in around 5 to 10 journals at the same time. I don't know if anybody else is like that too, or if you kind of stick to one, finish it, and then go on to the next one. I tend to work in a wide variety of journals and journal sizes all at the same time. A lot of them have themes or different like reasons behind them. This journal was started, I think, last year, And it was during a time that I just felt very uninspired, that I felt like everything that I was doing just was coming out wrong, and I just needed a place to play. So this was like my journal where I could just do anything and put anything in it, and it was just a place to play. There was nothing serious about it. And there's some pages that I absolutely love in this journal, like this one, and this one was another one of my favorites. But there are also pages that I'm just like, you know, like this was one of them that I wasn't super thrilled with. Or even pages, this was one that I did like, or even pages that I just didn't like at all. This happened to be another one that I really did like a lot. But trust me, there's a lot of pages in here that I didn't like. Some of them are really busy and some of them are really plain. And it just kind of was wherever I was that day. And it just kind of gave me a space to not worry so much about like what I would be posting on Instagram or, you know, sharing publicly. But it was just a space to just play around with like different moods and different ephemera and different time periods. And yeah, so this little journal actually helped break me out of a slump a lot. I really wasn't creating things that I was happy with beforehand, and this kind of gave me just a place to practice that was like a non-judgmental place for me. And as we can see, this little guy's almost done. She served me well and for a lot of months. But here's an example of a page that I really didn't like. I just kind of went crazy with the printables, and but like I said, this has just been a space for growth and for those like down seasons. But I'm almost done. I have just a couple pages left to this before this one is done. But I did want to share something that I did with you guys. I did this last night. And because this is just like a free-flowing, no thought, just play journal, kind of a lot of times what's on my mind or in my subconscious just comes out without even realizing it. I had this image for a few years. Cindy from Traveling Mail, I think, sent it over to me. And it just reminded me of a Ukrainian girl. The fact that she had a bag packed just had reminded me of all of the images that I've been seeing of the refugees fleeing to Poland on the trains. And that's just been weighing so heavily on my heart and on my mind, like every second of every day, that I wasn't surprised really when it came out in my artwork. And like I said, this is just kind of like a free-flowing book, just no thought, just play. And yeah, that's what wound up coming out. I used just different pieces of ephemera from different time periods. Both of these I got from Michelle from Tape and Twine and Tape and Twine Vintage. Again, I'll link her stuff below. But yeah, this was what was on my heart. So that was what was created last night. And like I said, this little girl's really, really chunky. She's gonna be done soon. There's just a couple pages left. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that I do work in multiple journals at the same time. And a lot of them have like specific themes. So that's that one. This journal, as you guys know, was a journal that I got for Christmas. It's been my 2022 main journal. It is packed full. I mean, it is packed full. And we are actually on the last signature already. I wanted to share with you guys a couple of things I was doing in here. But this right here started the last signature. Here it does, it starts here. But yeah, we're in the last signature already and it's only March, so there's not much more to go. This was a very used and very beloved journal. I got a ton of writing in this journal. Like I've explained before, this was definitely a journal that was a mixture of art and like writing journaling, because I just had a lot on my heart that I needed to get out, and this really large you know, great space, big pages was perfect for the beginning of this year because there's a ton of actual journaling as well as artwork that's in here, and this was really just fit my mood and fit the time of life that I was in. So we will probably be coming back to this. There's a couple of pages that I'm like half done with that I'm working on, but we have 2 of our 10 supply challenge videos left. We're not gonna do one tonight, just because today I felt like it was more about just walking the rooms and being outside and taking inspiration from nature and from like historic things. So we're just gonna do very simple journaling tonight so the video's not too long. But we will come back to this for the last 2 videos of the 10 supply challenge. But I did want to share with you guys 2 spreads that I did recently. This one is, I call it the Joker and the Queen. So I am a huge Taylor Swift fan. I have been literally since she started as a teenage country singer. I've been a fan that long. Her collabs with Ed Sheeran are my absolute favorite. I love duets. And the Joker and the Queen has just been one of those songs that has been on repeat for like hours every day. I'm driving my husband insane with it, but I had to do a layout with it. I did print out the lyrics and those are scattered throughout the spread. I liked the Victorian hands, so I printed them out and then used actual vintage cards. I decided to use a Jack card with the Queen instead of a Joker card with the Queen. That was just a little bit of artistic license just because they matched so well and it didn't really kind of distract from the spread, but just kind of made it just a little bit more cohesive. But I think the theme was still kind of portrayed, and this was just one that I was really happy with. It was kind of outside of my wheelhouse. It covered the whole page. It was very different than what I've been doing. So I did want to share that with you guys. So they definitely have different journaling styles that I bring out every now and then. This was one that I did yesterday too. This is a print from Lori Pemberton. I will leave her information down below too. It was only $5 to purchase this print, and the money went to Ukrainian aid. So there was just no way that I was not buying this because it was a printable number 1. I could use it multiple times. There's one that's hanging up on my wall, and then I printed another copy to go into my journal. It was just one of the most beautiful paintings I'd ever seen, and she had titled it something to the fact of, "Oh, that we wish we could carry you through this night." And I believe it's just abbreviated carried if you want to search for it. But just the title alone just kind of encapsulated everything that I've been feeling about the situation, how I just wish we were, you know, these little peace doves and we were able to just shelter and take care of the Ukrainian people right now. It's a situation that's breaking my heart. There is a Slavic dictionary page behind this, and I cut out hearts but then ripped them because this situation is breaking my heart, honestly. And then I really just loved this so much. I wanted it to have a big space in the spread, so I left this page pretty much as is. And then this page I filled with personal photos of just my connection to being partially Ukrainian. My grandmother was Ukrainian, and she was the only grandparent that I grew up with. So the Ukrainian culture was really, really just like prevalent in my life. So I have her in one of her folk costumes. She actually was a like Slavic dancer that danced in New York City. So that is a really special just photo to me. It's a really old photo, like the 1930s, and I just love that. This is a picture of my grandma and her sister and her 2 sister-in-laws. I included this because these 2 are Ukrainian and these 2 are Russian. My grandfather was Russian, my grandmother was Ukrainian. And there was something that my heart just needed to see, the two sides just loving each other. All four of these people were best friends. They, cooked together, they had holidays together, they were tight, close friends, and it just meant something to me to see Russian and Ukrainian people loving each other, because I think there's a very big difference between the average person and a government, honestly. I don't think the average person really has much say in what a government like Russia's government says and does, and I just wanted to kind of put a reminder out there that there are good people on both sides and kind people on both sides, and my family is personally a mix of both, and I obviously side with Ukraine in this conflict, but my heart also breaks for the people that feel against this conflict and don't feel like they have any say in it, or they'll be arrested, or it breaks my heart. It really does. Not trying to be political on here at all, just saying, just a reminder that love is everywhere, even in the darkest of places. Sometimes you just have to look for it, and there was certainly a lot of love in that kitchen. This is me and my gram when she was older. This is me, my sister, and my gram when we were younger, both in front of the same Ukrainian egg. She went to an Orthodox Slavic church. Again, in that church, there were people that worshiped together who were Ukrainian, Russian, Polish, all kinds of Slavic, and they all just loved God and loved each other and would bake together and dance together and sing together, and going to these festivals thrown by the church every year were just really wonderful memories for me. So I put those in there, and this is before my gram died. We spent quite a lot of time with her, my husband and I, at her house. Easter was always just a really big deal for her. She would break out the pussy willows and break out the psanki, the Ukrainian eggs. And so we were coloring eggs with her here, and she had a placemat that said, "Being Ukrainian is egg-citing." And we would dye the eggs on that placemat, and I just thought that was so cute. And this is one of the most special photos to me, because this is my great-grandmother, Martha. She escaped Ukraine during the Russian Revolution, when her home and her village were burned completely to the ground. She escaped to the United States and started a life here. She only spoke Ukrainian and Russian. She didn't really speak English at all. My grandma kind of was her interpreter her whole life. But this is where my heritage comes from. So that's straight from Ukraine, my great-grandmother Martha, my grandma, my mom, and me. And even though we have been Americans and in the United States for a few generations, I feel, because of how I grew up, a very, very deep tie to Ukraine, to the culture, the food, the, folk art. And, I grew up going to festivals where we watched the dances and ate the food and dressed in the clothing. And even though I am, a few generations removed, I am devastated by this conflict. I'm absolutely devastated by it. And not one day has gone by that it hasn't made me struggle with anxiety or struggle with depression, or made me cry, just honestly made me cry. I feel like every bomb that hits, I just think of the people that are still there that haven't gotten out yet, and I think of the historic landmarks that are being destroyed, and it honestly feels like a piece of myself, like a piece of my ancestry, my history is being wiped out and being destroyed, and I can't help but mourn for that. So yeah, I'm sorry that took such a serious turn, but that's just another spread that I did yesterday. And finally, so since I started Cynthia's journal last time, I did add in a lot of these tea cards. I got from Michelle, again, Tape and Twine Vintage books, and I'll take one out here, that have a lot of these little tea cards or cigarette cards in them. And I was really unsure whether or not to take out the cards because I knew I would use them constantly, or leave the books intact. But thankfully these books were a little damaged to begin with, and whenever a book is damaged, I feel kind of like less bad about using it for crafting. So I'm actually really happy that I decided to take out the cards and use them because they're just beautiful pieces of ephemera. And I had a butterfly book and a bird book, and the butterfly book has just been used a lot in here. So as you can see, I've added some of these butterfly cards in here, and there's, I don't want the tea to get in the way, just in case we're out of frame today. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. So we have some cards here and here. I added 3 here. I added 1 here, and an actual old letter from June of 1962. I added the wax seal just because I feel like it fit with the whole little envelope that Cynthia had put in there. This was an envelope for me that I received from Germany, and I just thought it was so cute that I decided to add it in there. I also added in this little bag just to kind of be able to put some either journaling or ephemera pieces in there. This is new. I added another little card and just added really, really simple decor. Just 3 elements here because Cynthia had already added this. So I might have added this envelope just to kind of hide the bag, and then I put the lace there as like a little tab. But as you guys can see, I'm using so far mostly only vintage ephemera. This book just felt like I wanted to keep it mostly vintage and not too many printables. But I'm keeping it very, very simple. And like I said the last video, when I feel like something is done, even if it's not super crazy or super complicated, I'm gonna let it be done just because like that's what feels right to me in my heart. And if there's a room, that just gives me space to write. And I've definitely been in a writing place lately. So I don't think I'm gonna be doing too much to this. I think I might save that as journaling space. And I don't think I'm gonna be doing too much to this just because I honestly really love the pattern she used. I might just kind of collage over here. We did this page together the other day, this page the other day, this page together the other day. We did this page together the other day, but I did add just a little bit to it just to make it a little bit more interesting. It just wasn't kind of sitting right with me. But yeah, I've just started kind of adding like the butterfly cards in here. I've added, I can't remember if I added this envelope or she did. She might have added this one, but I've been adding vintage envelopes in, vintage botanical cutouts, and there hasn't been too much that I've done just yet. Aside from, like you guys can see, I've just been loving these little tea cards so much that I just keep kind of placing them around the journal. This page will probably be like as is. I adore ferns and I really love this handmade paper. I think something simple in the middle of it is all that might be done to it, where this page I can kind of write a little bit more or maybe put another element here. But there's definitely going to be a mix of, you know, elements that I add like this and spaces that I might just use for writing and places where, you know, I just enjoy the image so much that I'll collage around it but keep the image as is because I think the image is just so special. Like I love 1960s images so much. So I'm trying to see if I did anything else to show you guys. Like I said, that was her little thing to me. This I had explained in the last video. I think that might be it. So, and I always end, I know this might be silly, but I always end all of my journals with my logo sticker. It's just kind of like my way of signing off. So yeah, I put that in. But yeah, mostly I just kind of played around with the beginning a little bit. And this is all new that I'm showing you guys. But I'm just gonna start filling it in with some writing, especially from today. I felt like today was just so much fun and so peaceful. It was so much fun to share my art outside in the rooms. And yeah, you know, if I have a lot to write, then I can stick it in this bag. If I have a little bit to write, then I can just kind of stick it in spots like this and like right here. But yeah, off camera, I think I'm just gonna start writing, but maybe we'll do one page together today. And then I will sign off because I don't want this video to be too long for you guys. So we'll find a spot, maybe here. And we went to the ruins today. I've actually wanted to go to the ruins for a while. They just looked really interesting to me, and they were something, like I said, I've been really wanting to do for a while. And we finally went today, and I think it was because Outlander was back on, and it just inspired me to go. Last night we watched the last episode of last season, but we also watched the first episode ever, you know, where Claire goes back in time, for anybody that watches Outlander. And it just, I don't know, there's something to me just so magical about that first season, about, you know, how she doesn't understand, you know, the rocks and the time travel and what's going on and what's happening to her, and there's just so much tension. But anyway, there's something that's just always going to be so special about that first season to me. So, you know, them exploring the ruins in Scotland, which is a lot cooler than the ruins in South Carolina, obviously, but it made me want to go exploring. And that mill today was the oldest mill in South Carolina, and the fact that the ruins are still there just is really cool and really fun to me. I love that they still exist. I love that there's a park there now that people can go to and explore them, and it's a really free park. There's not like a lot of guardrails. You can kind of just walk kind of all over them and just go wherever you want to go. Like I said, we climbed a pretty high tower. I wouldn't say it was safe, but it was fun. And sometimes I think you just need fun. But yeah, so Outlander being back on definitely inspired me to want to go explore them, and it was a lot of fun. And bringing my journal with me was a lot of fun too. So sharing that with you guys was kind of right up my alley with where I want to kind of take this account. But okay, so this is the page, and like I said, I am so okay with simplicity lately. I feel like this gives us enough elements that there is a collage. I feel like this page is busy enough where this one doesn't have to be too busy. And I feel like this also allows writing here, which I do want to record parts of today. So really simple, really easy today, guys. We used 4 pieces of ephemera. And yeah, that's the beauty of a junk journal. It's got so many interesting things kind of going on already that when you do add to it, you don't have to go crazy with it, and it can kind of just be whatever's on your heart. If you want a really complicated spread, you know, if there's like a blank page, you know, that you can just really just embellish and collage, you can, or if you feel like you just really enjoy something and want to keep it kind of simple because that's where your heart is, that's okay too. So I think I'm done tonight. I guess it wound up being more of sharing spreads that I've already done and more of a flip through journal, but also just like a journaling in public places video too, which I really enjoy. And I guess this one was a little mishmashed, a little bit different than things usually are. I hope you don't mind, but I had so much fun sharing my day with you, and I had so much fun sharing the different kinds of journals that I use, the different sizes, the different themes to them, and a few spreads that I've made recently this week with just things that have been on my heart. And I hope you don't mind more of a flip through. I might do some more flip through type videos in the future, just when, you know, I finish with the journal, and maybe it won't always be creating together. Maybe it'll be just kind of sharing things I've already made. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful night or day wherever you are. It's nighttime here, things are winding down. I'm gonna finish my tea. I am going to say a prayer for the people in Ukraine, and yeah, it's just one of those times, guys. It's one of those times where we kind of, I think, flip-flop between doing things that make us feel peace and then coming back to the kind of stark reality and emotions of it. And I know that that's how I've been feeling this past week, just flip-flopping between like just hygge and nature and home and cooking and creating and journaling and finding those moments of peace, and all of your videos too. I've just started watching so many of your videos, and they've just been bringing me so much peace. But then it's kind of like that flip-flop shifts, and then you start watching the news and you get caught up with the reality of what's going on in the world and how things could spread, and I really pray that they don't. But from everyone that I've talked to this week, it just seems like we're all there. It seems like we're all in the same place of doing things to kind of calm our souls and calm our hearts and calm our minds, and then kind of going back and realizing how serious things are, and feeling that empathy and crying and, you know, facing the sadness that is going on in the world right now. So if you're in that confusing spot like I am, and like so many people that I've talked to this week are, please know you're not alone. You are not alone in feeling confused. I've had so many conversations with people this week about how we're like struggling to find peace, but then when we find peace, it's like we almost feel guilty for finding peace because we know that there are people that aren't at peace right now. So if you're struggling emotionally, knowing how to feel or how to handle the situation, please know that you're not alone. I hope that you found some escapism and peace today in my video. That really was my goal with it. And I am just sending all of you so much love, so much light, and so much peace, and just praying that this all ends soon. But until then, on those moments that you want that break and want that peace, I hope that you will come join me here in this cozy corner that just wants to spread some love and light. I wish you all a good day and a good night, and I'll see you guys soon.